First of all, I'm Ganesh from Strafe, and
Mm.
first of all, uh, I mean, I did congratulate you during the press conference, but congratulations on the third place. I think
Thank
it's a
you.
big deal for G2 to reach there where no one expected it.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Shanghai and the whole experience. What are your
yeah.
thoughts? It's been like not a lot of time, but it's been a week. The results must have settled. Everything must have settled. How was it? How was the whole experience?
The experience as a whole was one of the most special experiences of my life, I have to
Yeah,
say. Um, Being a competitor in China obviously felt surreal, like competing in a Mercedes-Benz arena filled
yeah,
with 18,000 fans was something really special. But on top of that, just excuse me, on top of that, just being able to explore the city.
yeah,
I didn't expect Shanghai to be as beautiful as it was, man. It was really like a
yeah,
eye-opening experience
yeah,
almost, being able to visit such a beautiful city. I haven't traveled the world very much, so
yeah,
just being able to see things is always really nice.
yeah,
And yeah, I would say that just summing it all up, it was just very special, like all
yeah,
parts of it. Traveling, seeing things, competing
yeah,
was one of the best experiences of my life, and I'm very grateful that I was able to
yeah.
experience that.
Yeah, talking about the team's performance, everyone was on point. Jonah was on point. You were on point. I mean, everyone had their highlights, but I would like to talk about Icey. Icey was struggling in during the split one, but then we talked about him and his struggles, but he just showed up on in playoffs and helped you get the second seed, say the second seed, and then on the international stage, for a rookie, he performed exceptionally well. How did you guys, first of all, talk to him as a team, help him as a team to ensure that he performs against opponents that like it was a bigger stage for him? How did you guys how did you guys support him, and how did you ensure
Yeah,
that he doesn't feel the same stress he felt during stage one, that he struggled to perform? How was that? How was Icy's first experience like? How did you guys help him?
I would say that he's naturally a pretty good
Yeah,
competitor at being able to absorb pressure, honestly.
yeah,
His initial performances right when he joined during, like, split 1 at the beginning, obviously, people weren't was
yeah,
saying he wasn't playing great, but I think it was just a different learning curve for him. He didn't really compete versus top players or top teams before, so he just
yeah,
had to get used to it.
yeah,
Um, but, you know, I had, like, a talk with him, I would say in the middle of split 1 where I was just like,
yeah,
"Hey, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself," and I understand. Like, I was just giving him that heart-to-heart conversation
yeah,
and about how, like, obviously he wants to perform well, he wants to make a name for himself, but if you apply that pressure onto yourself, sometimes it's a bit self-destructing,
yeah,
and I just taught him how to calm down a bit more before a competition or
yeah,
be more chill, and since then, I would say all the credits to him. Like, he's
yeah,
been, able to go into 18,000 people arena or Riot China, travel the world, and compete with a clear head. So
yeah,
that's always impressive. I would say, yeah, most of the credit is just to him for being a good
yeah.
competitor.
I mean, once again, this is congratulations on that amazing performance. You got, I mean, defeating PRX, then Heretics, and then the last. I think you fell during the last battle where you lost to Genji and then to Team Heretics. But overall, you
Yeah,
guys exceeded expectation. No one was expecting G2 to go that far. First of all, and then obviously the PRX game, the odds were against your favor because PRX chose you, and then how was that? How was that win? How was the feeling of winning over a team that has that international recognition, that has a fan following, that has been on the biggest stages of competition? Obviously, their experience is much greater than yours, but still you managed to come out on top, especially where they are known for a bunch of aimers, superstars, multiple superstars. And you are known for slaying in the giants. I mean, Crew and then Leviathan in Americas, but doing that on international stage, and a lot of times you were on a back foot where you were starting with a deficit but still coming out on top. Just tell me, like, how did you process that as a team, as an IGL, mainly because hats off to you for
yeah.
being doing amazingly well.
Yeah, for a Paper X game, well, we had a lot of prep time because
Yeah,
they chose us for the first round, so we knew what we were going to get into.
yeah,
Like we had days to prep. Um, and I would say our true coaches, like Shaq and Josh RT prepped us well for that kind of play style just because it's uh, hard to simulate it. Like not many people play in that fashion or
yeah,
even are that skilled. So we
yeah,
just kind of mentally prepared us like how we have to win. And
yeah,
obviously we started map one terribly. I don't even want to remember it. It was like 11-0 at one point.
yeah,
Um, and they just came out the gate swinging with a good game plan on our map pick, and we couldn't really stop it. But we were still very confident. I remember going into
yeah,
map 2 and 3. I felt very good that we were going to win this game just because we had all this prep time. We were ready. Like we had the momentum going from the group stage into playoffs, and we wanted to win really bad.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I would say everyone was just in, like, a flow state mentality where,
yeah,
like, we pushed off the first game aside, and we just focused on the task at hand, and they have aimers, they have superstar players, but we were playing like superstars as well that day.
yeah,
Our shots were hitting, the game plans were hitting, and no matter what, we didn't give them the chance to individually
yeah,
let them crawl back. I would say a team like PaperX, they're known for if their backs are against the wall, the individuals shine even harder and pull them out of that hole.
yeah,
But for us, we were just suffocating them. We didn't wanna give them any
yeah,
space to work with, and, the game plan was perfect.
yeah,
So from there, we just maintained our advantages and closed the game out pretty easily.
yeah. I mean, also the 11-2-11 comeback. I mean, amazing. Uh, such great movements,
Yeah.
man. Such great movements from G2. Uh, now, now you know where your teams. I mean, not peak because obviously you could have won. You easily look like one of the best teams there. But now you know where what the team can do as a whole. The package where Leaf shines, you all shine, you all shoot really well. Do you think that adds additional pressure to qualify for to play well in Split 2 and then qualify for champions? Or would it be the same?
I would say it doesn't add any pressure. If anything, us competing this well and proving that we can be one of the top teams in our mindset just shows like, "Hey, guys, we can do this." Like,
Yeah,
uh, it builds confidence within the team.
yeah,
Uh Yeah, it builds confidence, it builds resilience, and understanding that we can win, we can make anything possible, so it just keeps you motivated throughout the
yeah,
weeks to continue working hard. Uh, there obviously is slight pressures just because, you compete like, you perform well in split 1, you have that self pressure, I would say, to
yeah,
wanna compete again
yeah,
internationally.
yeah,
Like, for me, I just really wanna go back
yeah,
to international. Like, my head's focused on champs,
yeah,
but there's leaps and bounds we have to make in
mm,
between, and as long as we keep our heads focused on that, I
yeah,
think regardless of the pressure or the situation at hand, we'll have the confidence now and the understanding that we're a good team that we can maybe come out with all these wins, make the playoffs, and
yeah.
go into champions.
Talking about the teams that were there, first I had this thing that was going around where teams didn't get to practice as much when they were in China. How was the practice situation like, and how was the management like in China?
The management was perfect in China. I had no problems there. I guess the only complicated part was the servers that we were playing on were like limited to Chinese teams
Yeah,
because we're on the Riot China client, so we
yeah,
couldn't really scrim any of the APAC teams.
yeah,
Um, I'm I'm not sure if any teams had, like, VPNs and stuff, but
yeah,
we saw teams were looking for, like, APAC scrims, but we weren't able to do that, so
yeah,
I would say our practice honestly wasn't that great either. It
yeah,
was just a lot of, like, watching ourselves, watching the
mm,
opponents, but not much scrim reps, so maybe that's why I can attest some of these slow starts is just, like, we were in decent like, we weren't in the greatest form. I know some
yeah,
players or we've looked great at moments, but we weren't putting that
mm,
much time into scrimming and stuff,
yeah,
so maybe that's why, like, our form, had a
yeah.
bit of a drop off.
Yeah. I mean, now that you are on a grid stage, you face Genji, the team that won. How do you see the level? I mean, it was a first win for specific as a region. What do you think about the whole competitive level across the region, across the three, four regions? Do you think any team, like given going forward in champs, do you think all teams, all regions have an equal chance or an opportunity to win? Would it be like America's has been, where any team can defeat any team?
Yeah, I would say, all of the regions are very competitive right now. I would say the only region that hasn't been having the greatest results, but I firmly believe will get there is China, and that's
Yeah,
because I think they're just very new to Valorant still.
yeah,
They don't have the same amount of time spent in the game as
Yeah.
teams from the other two regions. But I mean, we saw like APAC has become a very competitive team, or
Yeah.
sorry, APAC has become a very competitive region where
Hmm.
any team can be a first seed or a second,
Yeah.
third, etc. And EU, I would say, has also stepped up massively. Like last year,
Yeah.
they were known as a
What?
fanatic, one
Yeah.
trick region, but now we have all the teams stepping up. Like even the young guys coming in, Heretics being
Yeah.
top performers. Everyone in Valorant as a whole is just starting to step up. Even our story,
Yeah.
being in America, coming from Ascension, being the
Yeah.
young team with not much experience and going into international, I would
Yeah.
say that the skill level is rising, the teams are getting better,
Yeah.
and every year I believe there's gonna be new top teams within every
Yeah.
region.
Yeah. Now talking about Split 2, first of all, what are your expectations for Split 2 from the matchups that you have, which would be insane, given NRG changed their roster. Sentinels are strong. Hopefully, they would come back stronger. There is Crew, who has been dominant. There is Cloud9 and yourself. That's a pretty packed group, and the group that dominated last split. And now you guys would be against each other. First of all, how would you see those matchup playing out?
Yeah, we played so our first match is versus Cloud9, and we played them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
We came out with a 2 victory, so I
yeah,
feel pretty confident versus them, but I am expecting a tough matchup. They are a great team, and
yeah,
Oxy has been known to always put up pretty powerful performances, right? We were able to nullify him a bit last time, but teams are always gonna learn from mistakes
yeah,
and watch the ball back and get better, so it's gonna take even more from us to come out with the win on week 1.
yeah,
I'm very excited to play against NRG week 2.
yeah,
They're a team that I always wanted to compete against, especially now bringing back FNS. Like,
yeah,
um, I've it's just a team that I just wanna get a taste of playing.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
so I would say those first 2 games are gonna be tough. Going into week 3, we have Crew, and so far we haven't lost to them, but our matches
yeah,
have been close.
mm,
So, I feel pretty confident versus them, and then the last game versus Sentinels, the content match, so
yeah,
that's gonna be a big game, I think, when it comes down to who makes the playoffs, just because there's a tie right now,
yeah,
between, like, us, NRG, and Sentinels being 3 and 3.
yeah,
So if it shakes out how it's expected to shake out, the last match versus Sentinels might be
yeah,
the do or die. So, we'll see how it goes. My expectations is that we are to make playoffs, of course.
yeah,
I think that we are making leaps and bounds as a team, and we're a strong team.
yeah,
So, I'm expecting us to make playoffs, but, um, results aside, I'm just expecting us to put the same hard work that we did in split 1, keep
yeah,
the same discipline, and hopefully build on our losses
yeah.
from Czech and get better.
Yep. I don't have enough time, so just last question. What are your thoughts on the map pool change? Obviously, there is a bigger picture to answer, but let's talk about the map pool change and Abyss. Haven coming back and the Abyss new map. What are your thoughts on it?
I would say Haven coming back is pretty nice for me. I've always been a Haven enjoyer,
Yeah,
or 3 bomb site maps in general are some of my favorites, so I'm excited for Haven to come back.
yeah,
Uh, this being introduced for playoffs is a bit strange to me. I'm not sure, why we're adding, like, a new map at such an important part of the year. Like,
yeah,
it's a short turnaround time, especially because some of these teams are gonna be like, they're not gonna know that they made playoffs until the very end, right?
yeah,
Like, a team like us or a team like Sentinels, they won't know that they qualified until the very last week. So it's gonna be hard for them to prep for this map. So I'm expecting a lot of people to just ban it,
yeah,
but it seems like a map with a cool gimmick of being able to fall, so I'm excited to see how it plays out.
yeah. Uh, Sorry, I mean, this is my time. Thank you so much for your time. All the best
Yeah,
for
thank
all the
you.
future matches. Congratulations on the great victory, great run, and hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Yep.
Take care.
Have, you
Bye-bye.
too. Have a great night.